Welcome to the latest episode of 305 Vox Populi here in the town of Miami Lakes. I'm Mayor Manny Cid. We have a great guest today. We have Enrique Santos. How you doing, Enrique?
Mr. Mayor, how are you? Thank you for having me.
We really, really appreciate you. Let me thank some of our sponsors. We're powered by Miami Lakes AutoMall. They gave the seed money to start this program for us. Thank you to Fred. They're located at 16600 Northwest 57th Avenue here in the town of Miami Lakes. You can reach them at 305-455-3510. Enrique, have you ever seen a mural like this in the mayoral office?
Well, I've seen it here on the podcast, and now I see it in person. And thanks for, I think this is great. I mean, I think this is the coolest mayor's office I've ever been in.
I appreciate that. So this was put all together by
students.
This one, a local school counselor.
Okay.
Who got inspired by what the students were doing, reached out and said, hey, I want to help. What can I do? And we said, hey, we need something. If it's 305 Vox Populi, how do we do something 305 style where we incorporate everything? And she came every single night for about a month. And she put it together. So her name's Grisel Gajano, and you can reach her at 786-353-8608. Thank you to Joe for the food today. He's our food sponsor.
I haven't eaten, but...
Oh, we got you. Where, Joseph, come on,
No, I'm
man.
saying you
Okay,
said it's food sponsor. I didn't see no food.
We'll set it up.
I just had lunch, actually.
Got it. Shout out to Matter Lakes Broadcasting. I think you got a little bit of what they're all about. What's cool about this podcast is that there's this social component, right? That we're doing good in our society. We're giving back because it's turned into an entire broadcast academy. 3 teachers, 90 students. I mean, they got into the point where they edit video as good as ESPN. If you look at their sports game, they broadcast it live with announcers, with live tickers, with stats, with all this free to the parents, and they've become the envy of every school, no joke, in Northwest Dade, in the county. Everybody's calling them to see how they could replicate it, but they're doing amazing work.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That only means one thing. You're going to probably get good job offers when you graduate.
That is very true. And not only that, some of them have already put this on their resume. They've gotten scholarships. They got and whatnot. Like, I think Michael is one of the founders. He's going to Parsons next year. I think full ride, right? Is that full ride Parsons?
It's somebody, not full ride.
Got it.
Congrats, Michael.
We'll get you there. So, Enrique, to you, what's your why? Like, when did you say, yo, Enrique Santos, I want to be one of the top radio voices, if not the top, in the world? Like, what was that why? Where you made that decision? Because all of us as kids, we have these dreams and aspirations.
Sure.
But what was yours? What was your moment?
Wow. Well, I have to go. I mean, back when I was a kid, Manny, again, thank you for having me on. And congratulations to this great project and for all the success and how you're inspiring the next generation of broadcasters and leaders. As a kid, I always wanted to be... I love aviation. I love space exploration. I dreamt when I was a kid of, being a pilot or maybe being an astronaut. But then quickly I saw my uncle became a state trooper for the Florida Highway Patrol, and that inspired me to become a police officer. I was a police explorer with the city of North Miami, police explorers. Became police explorer, and then I became a dispatcher right after I graduated high school. And then from there, once I turned 19, because you got to be 19 to be a police officer in the state of Florida, I went to the police academy and became a certified police officer. And it was kind of like by mistake. I made a phone call to a radio station. I always liked comedy and liked entertainment and liked movies, but I never envisioned making a career out of it. My calling was to become a law enforcement officer, and I was enjoying what I was doing. But I called this radio station, wanted to know a name of an album. The guy that picked up was the program director. We became friends. He needed a DJ. I started to kind of do like an internship at the radio station. He put me on the radio one day to test to see how I sounded. I liked what I did. He liked how I sounded. And from there, I started doing overnights and started developing different characters and doing phone pranks. And then I quickly moved to hosting the best of the morning show, which was another crew of people that used to work there Monday through Friday. And I would come in Saturday mornings and do like a recap of the entire week, and then working Sunday nights. And that quickly led to the morning show. Then in this business, it happens quite often. They were having some problems and they quit. And the only person that really knew the inner workings of of that morning show and the dynamics of it, and that was really next up to bat at the plate was me. But I had my full-time job as a police officer working for the city of North Miami, and I had this, authorized by the city manager, of course, because they have to authorize that and give their blessing to make sure you're doing outside employment. And I had this gig on the weekends working as a DJ, which I was loving. But now they offer me a contract to leave police work and do radio full time, and I thought it was a great opportunity. And I took that ball and ran as fast and hard as I could with it. And thank God, radio's been very, very good to me. I still stay on as a reserve City of Miami.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm still a reserve City of Miami police officer. I don't wear the uniform much. I do most of the work with the public relations department and with the police athletic league and with PAL and anything that's going on with the Latino community in any capacity that we can.
No, that's amazing. I mean, one thing that I love about public service and what I do is that I get to walk around in the community. I wake up every day and I can do something great. And people say, hey, Mayor, thank you for the speed bump. Mayor, thank you for cutting the tree and these types of things. But today, just walking around City Hall for about 5 minutes, I saw the impact that you made in people's lives, right? I heard from our HR director. I was like, hey, you don't remember this story. But when I was in Jamaica enjoying my honeymoon, you were there and you put me on the radio and you celebrated me and what that meant to her. So how does that your story, your why, how you started, and then hearing stories like that, what does that mean to you? How does that feel?
It feels great, very gratifying. It was great meeting her and to share that story. And I run into people all the time. In your capacity, Mayor, you see your constituents on a daily basis, and they thank you, and you're able to see the good work that and the money that's been invested in making the town of Miami Lakes better each day, right? And you almost see it immediately, or you see it the next day, and you see the people that are impacted. On radio, you don't really see people, so you're talking, and you don't know how many people you're actually reaching at that moment. And who you're impacting, and that's why these words are important, and they really truly are, right? But it feels great when people tell you, thank you because I was having a bad day, and you talked about this, that, and the other, and you made you helped me through this rough situation that I was having with in my personal life or at work, at home, whatever the case may be. You're my stress reliever, or when people say, because we do a lot of, I was born in Chicago. My parents are Cuban. I speak Spanish because mom and dad, when I was a kid, told me, aquí en esta casa se habla español.
Yep.
We speak Spanish in this home because I spoke with all my cousins and friends at school English, and then I wanted to come home and speak English, and mom and dad would only talk to me in Spanish, and I thank them for that because that was the rule at home. I am fully, bilingual, which is so important in this day and age in the workforce, as we know, and being bilingual, trilingual, and if you're able to speak 4 and 5, the more languages you can speak,
yep,
the better. But yeah, it feels absolutely fantastic when people know you because they see you on social media, or they've seen you on TV, or they've seen you in a promotion. They look you up, they know who you are from an event or whatnot, but you don't know what they look like. And so when they come up to you and say, thank you for making my day better. Thank you because of you, my kids want to speaking Spanish is cool. Because they hear your prank calls, or they hear how you speak Spanglish, but you still, it's enough of the conversation where if you don't speak English or don't speak Spanish and we get into the back and forth, you don't lose, no se pierde el hilo, como se dice en español. You can still follow the conversation and not get lost. And I think that's what it's all about. Speaking to people at their level. People don't like to be talked down to. No one likes to be, ridiculed. We all make mistakes. We're all human, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's very gratifying to wake up every day and just know that you're helping other people have a better day.
Yeah, that's very true. So speaking to the students, right?
Am I talking too much? You can tell me.
No.
You can kick me.
No. You're on point, man.
All right, let me know if I'm talking too much.
I'm following your lead.
This is what I do is talk. I wake up at 4 a.m. and all I do is talk and more Cuban coffee and more talking and more Cuban coffee. And
anybody got Cuban? Can we ask Joe to make some
cafecito?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, so so the kids understand, right? Yeah. The grind that it took to get to where you're at, but not only to get to where you're at, but to stay where you're at,
sure,
and keep developing and keep changing. I mean, what does your morning look like when you wake up and you're like, man, I got to create a new skit. I got to do this. How much work happens behind the scenes? Because a lot of people see the superficial stuff. They see your posts. They see when we did the thing at Flanagan's, right? They see that, but they don't understand everything that it took behind the scenes with your team. So give them a little glimpse of what that grind is, not only to get there, but the behind the scenes, but to stay there.
Sure.
Every day.
Yeah, listen, the late Celia Cruz, que en paz descanse, she's the queen of salsa. There's a quote I remember her saying, que lo difícil no es llegar, es mantenerse. The difficult part is not getting there, it's maintaining, right? And being able to maintain a level of success, a level of relevancy. And that's the importance also of picking something that truly moves you, you know, following my instincts. I could have still been a city of North Miami police officer. I think I would be very happy. Obviously, police work right now has changed a lot. It's a lot more challenging. I know a lot of very good people that have left law enforcement because of the complications. So, you know, that's a whole different conversation. But specifically with me, it's an attitude. Going to sleep with the right frame of mind, waking up with the right frame of mind, concentrated. My day starts at 4 a.m. I have an amazing team.
Wait, did you guys hear that? Because while you're sleeping,
right,
he's on the grind at 4 a.m. I mean, that means a lot, right? Sleep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People think, I could wake up at 10 o'clock, go to sleep at, just hang out. No. People that are uber successful that do well, I mean, that's a great habit. You got to wake up, not only because of your work, but it creates that habit long term.
Of course. Yeah, you can have a party a certain night and wake up, a day or two. Every now and then, discipline. Everything in life is balance. But yeah, when you do a morning radio show, people people think, it's normally it's a morning slot from 6 to 10 in the morning. So a lot of people are under the concept that it's that's such an easy job. You wake up 6 in the morning, you're out at 10, you get to enjoy the rest of the day, and that's not the case. You wake up at 4 in the morning, you're preparing, you're reading scripts, you get into the radio station. There's different markets that we do. I do a market, for example, in San Antonio, that's completely, it's an English delivery. So it's more music intense, but it's all English. So I'm recording that show every morning at 5:30 in the morning. Immediately after that, there's commercials that are being recorded. There's scripts that we're going through, and then there's a review with the entire crew of the show to go over the news that we're going to be covering, to make sure we understand what the production has put in there, the phone prank that's involved in there, there's production that's involved with that, any interviews that we have going on now with social media so important. There's parts of the show where we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter, and also live on the radio. And then there's other parts where we're live on the radio and then several times throughout the morning on Instagram. And then there's promotions that are being recorded, for 15-second Instagram stories or for TikTok, for different things. There's a million. It's like a organized chaos. But to be honest with you, when at 10 o'clock, once 10 o'clock comes around, you're drained. Everyone's drained, physically drained, mentally drained. It's just that's a lot that goes into it. And about then, you'd probably most of us want to take a nap, but that's when you get into production for the next day, and there's meetings with clients or with sales, or there's appearances for certain things. So it's a lot. Doing a morning radio show, and now because of social media, I think it's a great tool if you know how to use it wisely, and if you take advantage of it. But you're basically a morning show that runs from 6 to 10. Truly is a 24-hour show, because you always have to be connected, and you have to be relevant. You have to be informed of current topics, news, any breaking news. Everything moves so fast, and to stay on point, you gotta be up, and you gotta be always at the top of your game, or else there's always a competitor that's gonna reach in and
eat your lunch
and do it better. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
That is very true. So one thing, I think yesterday you were hanging out with Mark Anthony.
Yes.
You hang out with Bad Bunny. I mean, you hang out with all the top folks, entertainment folks throughout the world and whatnot. And I think one thing I got to give you kudos for, and if you can tell the kids how you do it, is that you stay grounded, right? Like the other day, I'll give you an example. We did the whole flan thing, right? Where they're having fun, the flan thing. A lot of folks just rode out. They left. They had a driver waiting for them, whatnot. You could have left it. No. The first thing I saw is that your pops was hanging out. Your pops is there chatting with me. And then you look at me, you're like, hey, I'm going to have lunch with my entire team. We're going to go hang out in the back. And I'm like, man, that means something, right? When you have that type of, not only having your dad there with you, but
It's a
having
blessing.
your team with you, that it's like a
Absolutely.
family, like Harold, all these folks.
Yeah.
How do you stay grounded
Mm-hmm.
from hanging out one day with Mark Anthony and Bad Bunny and this and that, and to being a normal person, right? And I think you're a great example of that. So how do you do it? Because I see, I won't name them, but I even see like mayors and council members of really small cities que se creen que son, they have drivers y esto lo otro. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, your city, there's 100 people that live in your city. You know what I mean? Come on. Pero I think you do such a good job of that. How do you share that? How do you do that? How do you share that with that future generation that might be in your spot one day?
Thank you, Manny. Listen, to me, it's not. To me, it's just been very. I've never been like a star-struck type of person. Again, I've always liked entertainment, and I've always admired comedians and actors. But again, like I told you, I never envisioned making a career out of it. But I will tell you that to a certain extent, what you ask of the universe and how you set and what you focus on indirectly, if your heart's there, and that's what you want, the universe will listen. And whatever your religious belief is, if you're doing it and it's coming from the right place, everything will fall in place. Sometimes you say to yourself, okay, I'm coming to the town hall, and I set the GPS, and I'm thinking, and I know I got to go that way and make a right and then a left, and here I'm at town hall, but maybe there's an accident or there's a delay or Waze is telling me to go one way and Google Maps is telling me to go the other way. You set the GPS, and eventually you'll get there, and life is the same way. It might take you to make some U-turns. The car might clunk out on you. You might run out of gas. But if that's where you want to go, you can get there. And I tell you this story only because when I was a North Miami police officer, I actually lived in the Greenwich Apartments. I'll never forget. It was right next to the Greenwich Studios, which at that moment was one of the only sound stages in the state of Florida. What does that mean? That most of major motion pictures that came through Florida were filmed there. I became the go-to officer, and most of the off-duty work I was in charge of for that studio. So working in that studio gave me the opportunity to be there and be able to meet Jim Carrey when he was filming Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, to meet Emilio and Gloria Estefan when she recorded Coming Out of the Dark after her horrible accident. Something About Mary, I met Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller, I was in charge of his security, and he sat in my police car for 2 whole days while he was filming. Again, and I was just graduated the police academy in 19, I was 19, 20. I was a 20-year-old kid, just loving my law enforcement work. And it just so happened that, again, I always liked the comedy and entertainment and movies, but I never imagined making a career out of it. And now that you ask me and I start thinking back and reliving it, it was almost like, I love police work. It's great that I'm here, but this is like kind of calling me, and I'm liking this. And sitting there and having lunch with Ben Stiller and Cameron Diaz.
I think that was the universe, God talking to you, right?
Kind of like putting things in place, like, okay, maybe God telling me, all right, this police work thing is going to be okay for you for a little while, but there's something better for you. And it's just following your instincts, following your gut. And if your heart and your mind is in the right place, and you're focused and you're listening and you're open and receptive, right, to all these opportunities, because life is full of opportunities. You meet somebody today that you might think that conversation is insignificant. Might be the last time you see that person. That person might be your boss tomorrow. That's the importance also of treating people the right way. Yep. Today you're here, tomorrow you're not. Today you're the mayor, and a couple years from now, you will no longer be mayor. You'll be so. But how important would that be that so many people remember Manny Cid as the mayor of town of Miami Lakes? That's a cool dude. He treated me well. And that's why I treat everybody the same. And that has, once I got into radio, kind of grandfathered that same type of spirit of just treating people well, admiring people, giving people respecting their role, but role in life, in their professional career, in their personal career. But that's also giving me the opportunity, yes, to be able to meet people that I never would have imagined meeting, again, from these actors. And it's not the name drop, but when you look back at pop culture and things that have molded me in my life, and I think Robin Williams, and the fact that Robin Williams autographed an 8x10 for me, Officer Santos, thank you. And I cherish that. I have it in my office. It's like the late Robin Williams, God rest his soul. And everything that you think, a perfect person, right? He's a comedian. He's on this earth to make people laugh. That's what he does. And that his life ended in such a tragic way, an unnecessary way, right? If we just, there's a million questions there, but listening to people and the fact that cada mente es un mundo, like they say in Spanish, every mind is a world. And everyone's battling something, right? So it's important to take the time to thank people, to be kind to people. And I thank my parents for having, for having taught, my parents are very humble people, hard workers, and simple things that you appreciate. So it's great that, and then I have a bond with a lot of artists, musicians. Mark is my brother. Mark actually is I'm now part of the talent roster of Mark Anthony's talent agency. So basically, Mark Anthony is my manager. Nice. We joke about it all the time, but it's true. If I have a business proposition, an offer from any type of company, or if there's an opportunity, it's Mark Anthony going into that conversation or having that conversation. Him or his right hand in Magnus, which is Michelle Vega, and my personal attorney, Alexander Brown, who we grew up as he's my best friend. We grew up together, and now he happens to be my attorney too. So life has a crazy way of putting you where you need to be, who you need to be with, as long as you're open and receptive to that, and being humble, just being able to accept that, take it for what it's worth, and never taking anything for granted. And we all make mistakes, and there's sometimes where I just gotta remind myself, this is where I'm at today. Tomorrow it could be totally different, and I'm okay with that. Just know that, tell myself that I'm blessed to be where I'm at now, in this position, doing something that I love doing, and anything I can do. There's one thing I enjoy is when I'm able to network people and bring people together and see like projects come together. And hey, I introduce Harold's here, and I introduce Harold to his wife. Harold, as a matter of fact, was, you want me to tell a story? I can tell a story. Harold was 15, 16, driving in North Miami. He shouldn't have been driving. I was in my patrol car working as a cop, and I see a car jump the curve, and it was like a short person driving the car. And I was like, what is going on here? I put the lights on. I get out, and it was Harold driving. Obviously, he was too young to be driving, and his mom came out, happened to be right in front of his mom's restaurant. And his mom came out and really let him have it. Unos chancletazos. ¿Qué tú estás haciendo? Oh. I'm sorry, officer. It's like, man, I've told him not to drive the car. It turns out she told him, just move the car from the park. It's a typical Latino thing to do. Hey, mueve el carro para acá. But anyway, we became friends. Destiny, put us together as friends. From there, after that, he joined the Marines and was deployed to Iraq, and we maintained contact. And he's like my brother as well. And I introduced him to his wife, who's a lifetime friend of mine, Marianne, and they've been together she's really put up with you for a long time. I enjoy that.
Wait, so if it wasn't for jumping that curve and you guys meeting,
I'm exaggerating. Actually, it wasn't jumping the curve. He was just moving from one parking space to another. But I could tell that I wanted to make sure this person had a license, and he didn't have a license. He shouldn't have been driving.
No, but that's an amazing story, and to see where you guys are at today, exactly. I mean, that is unbelievable.
No, and the fact that after he that we kept friends with him and his family, and then he joins the Marines and serves our country, and that we keep the contact. And then after the Marines and he comes out of service, that we still were maintained our friendship. And then the opportunity opened up, and I said, Harold, I'm looking for somebody that I need you to come and be part of my show. And it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. He calls it last minute productions, because I am very structured and very disciplined, but sometimes I'm very spontaneous too. So you got to be very flexible. So Harold's the one that, what happened, Enrique? I got you. You should have told me this last month, but okay, you're telling me that you want to move a mountain today, when if you would have told me yesterday, I would have, it would have been easier on me. But he never complains, and he always makes it happen. That's
awesome. God is good. God is good. So one thing we do a little different on the show, Enrique, is that you get some questions from the kids, from the teachers. Then after that, you get to ask me some questions, which is pretty cool. We turn it around.
Love it.
What do you guys got for Enrique?
Yeah. So if this radio business never worked out for you, let's say you tried and tried it again, but you kept getting knocked down, and you just lost your pride, or where would you find yourself?
Well, in my case, again, it's different because I had always had police work, right? And as a matter of fact, when I left police work and I got into radio full time, it was important for me to keep my certification with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, which basically sets the standards of training for all law enforcement officers. So there's a certain amount of training that you need to go through, and you need to be a member of a police department in order for you to be recognized. So it was important for me to keep my certification, and that's and also, you know, I'm giving back to the streets that I'm a product of, you know, at least by example. Again, I'm not in uniform every day, but when I'm able to tell my story, or when people look me up, or when something does happen with the department, then I'm engaged in my capacity as a reserve police officer. People, especially young people, what I would like to, what I pride myself of is the fact that if they look at that and say, wow, so he can be a police officer, and he can be a guy on the radio, and he can be an entrepreneur and own a restaurant, and he can. I always tell people, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Nowadays, you could do so much. You know, there's police and firemen and women that also have restaurants, or that have another business. You know, the mayor also has, you know, the mayor's cafe. It's he's investing in his future and that of his family as well. So it's always about opportunities, looking at different opportunities, how you can venture with other people, help other people, and not helping other people because, oh, I want to help this person because eventually, if in case, you know, I need help one day, I know this person is influential or this person can help me. That's not where it should come from. It should always come from the heart and the spirit of genuinely wanting to help other people. And the universe has a crazy way of just all great stuff coming back to you. But never get frustrated that you're not able to accomplish something. Again, you set that GPS, you'll get there eventually. It might not be the same route that you thought originally, or instead of 30 minutes that Waze told you it was going to take you to get there, it might take 35, but you'll get there eventually if you keep focused. So I would say focus, don't lose your drive, right? If you want it that bad, you'll work for it no matter how many obstacles come in the way.
What else you guys got for
Typically when we interview someone of a certain influence, we'll ask this question, and I think in your case you already said that you're not often starstruck. But what was a moment in your career that you thought, you know, mama, I made it? Like, what was something that really marked you? They were like, wow, I'm really here. This is really where my life has gotten me.
Well, so many of those moments, right? But first, early off, when I was doing both jobs as a police officer full-time and then part-time on the radio station, hosting certain festivals, and then start conducting interviews of actors and musicians from Pitbull, you know, P. Diddy, Mark Anthony. People start noticing in the pictures, and when you hear yourself on the radio and people start associating, pero tú eres policía o eres locutor? Are you a cop or are you a radio announcer? I'm kind of confused here. I don't get it. Those, you're kind of like, no, you can do both things. It's okay. It doesn't mean that, you know, just because you're a police officer doesn't mean that you can't do something else. But hearing myself on the radio, I still hear myself on the radio today, and it's this kind of weird feeling that I get. I don't like hearing myself. I don't know if that makes sense. It kind of feels like something like weird. Like, why am I listening to myself? But it's amazing. Yeah, it's special. But I think, yeah, when you hear yourself on the radio, when you see yourself, a lot goes in. There's a lot of energy that goes into, and Mayor mentioned yesterday, the golf tournament that we had for Maestro Cares Foundation, which is basically a foundation that Henry Cardenas is a very big promoter. He's a promoter of Mark Anthony's tours and Bad Bunny and a bunch of other artists. So him and Mark are very successful men, and both in their industries. And they said, how can we set out to make people's lives better? Who needs help? You know, we tour all these countries, especially Central South America, and we meet so many orphan, you know, children, and that's where Maestro Cares Foundation. Maestro meaning Mark Anthony, Maestro cares. So they just celebrated their 10th anniversary. I've seen the orphanages. There's boys and girls that they benefit from these orphanages in Central and South America. And I've met a lot of these kids that unfortunately were abandoned by their parents or never even got to meet their parents or had parents that were killed. There's so many, situations. And it's Mark always says it's about the dignity of these children. When you go there to the orphanage and you see that they have their own toothbrush and they have their own locker and their own bed. And these are kids that were, yesterday barefoot walking the streets, begging for food, trying to, make things meet. And then to see the evolution and the growth of these kids. And some of them I have in my office at home, paintings of Junior, one of them, that I remember when I went to the orphanage in the Dominican Republic. When I first met him, he was 17, just turning 18 out there. And he had all these paintings there. And he's like, no, one day I'm going to sell these paintings. And I said, and he was really looking forward to that. And I'm hearing him. I was like, oh, okay. And then I'm about to leave. And he said, one day I'm going to sell these paintings. I went back and I said, Junior, how much do you want for that? For that painting is a Picasso. It's like with a clock on it. I have it in my office at home. It's beautiful. I love the colors. And he goes, no, I don't know. I said, how much do you want to sell that for? He says, I don't know, say $20. $20? No, that I think is worth at least $100. So I felt happy that I bought his first painting for $100. And then other people started following, and some other people that were with and they were touring the orphanage along with our group. Felt inspired then also, okay, if Enrique bought something, I got to buy something too. So then it turned into, we ended up buying like 5 or 6 of his paintings. Wow. He was like, wow, So, yeah, I don't know. I went off on a tangent from your.
Well, that was a good story.
Thanks.
And then you talk about like setting the GPS and being focused, but how do you remain focused when you're entering so many baskets? Like, what do you focus on? Like, what is your general goal?
My general goal right now? Or just, well, I've worked for, I started doing broadcasting in 98, 99. I've ended up, this is the 3rd broadcasting company that I've worked for. So it's allowed me to learn a lot from so many different broadcast professionals. But I started my career with Spanish Broadcasting System. They're the largest Hispanic-owned broadcaster in the United States. And then I moved to Univision. They're more TV focused, but they also have radio stations. So it structures from 2 different companies. And also coming from my discipline as a law enforcement officer, right, where it's a very structured organization. If you don't get to work on time, you get written up, and then if you do it again, you end up you're suspended, and that goes in your personal file. It's very, very structured. And then getting into the private sector when it comes into broadcasting, you end up working with a lot of so many different egos, right, and different people. But each one of those stages, I would call them, prepared me for my new role now here, because at iHeartRadio, I'm not only in charge of my syndicated Spanish show, but I also host a syndicated English show on our CHR stations. iHeartRadio is the largest broadcaster in the United States. We have 850 plus radio stations. But here, in my new role now with iHeartRadio, I'm president and chief creative officer of iHeart Latino. So basically anything that iHeart does that's in Spanish runs through me, which is it's a lot of responsibility. So again, I have the reserve thing that I'm doing. I have my Spanish morning show that I host that's syndicated. I have my English show that's syndicated. And then I also have my roles running everything and making sure that there's synergies and the communications and making sure that everything is flowing the way it needs to flow. So it's structuring. It's you got to keep focused. And I think with time I've gotten better at it. Sometimes I do. It is a little overwhelming, and I say to myself, "Wait, I need a break. There's a lot. I got a lot on my plate." But I'm the type of person that I like staying busy. Sometimes if I'm too disconnected, I feel, for me, it's good. I'm able to balance it all. Again, once you put, I'm not saying you do a million things. You can't do it all, right? We can't do everything. But figure out, the handful of things that you're most passionate about, and those top 2 or 3, go after those. I always looked up to people like Ryan Seacrest, like Elvis Duran. Again, when I got into broadcasting, I always admired these guys. Now at iHeartRadio, we belong to the same family. So to be able to work alongside Ryan and Elvis with the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne and DJ Envy and Angela, and we're all part of the same. We're also part of the same clique, So to be able to rely on them and just be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, what do you guys think about this? You've been in this situation before. We're trying to replicate the same thing now in Spanish, or do something very similar, and they're able to lean in on it, and we're all at the same table together. It's really cool. It's impressive. But with that, I would tell you, dream big. Don't limit yourself. Anything is achievable, especially in this country. People will try to confuse you and scare you and tell you that there's a million things wrong with this country, and we do have issues, we do have problems. It's not perfect, and a democracy is constantly changing, but there's no other place in the world that I'd rather be than in the United States. And I'm blessed that this country opened its doors to my grandparents and to my parents. And with that is a great sense of responsibility too, right? What I say on the radio. Because a lot of the stuff is fun and we try to make things light, but radio is there to entertain, but more importantly is there to inform. So it's in moments of crisis, during elections, during disasters, emergencies, wars, right? Words do matter, and that you're able to change the tone, and keeping in mind too that, especially on morning radio, there's grandparents, there's parents, there's kids listening too. So you got to be very careful, filter what you say and being conscious. But you follow your heart, do what you want. Your instincts will tell you where to go. Nothing happens automatically. I'm still a work in progress. Every day I'm learning, every day, and just being open and receptive to it, and accepting invitations like this, because to me this is very humbling. Meeting you guys, looking into your eyes and taking your questions, and it allows me. It's healthy for me too, because I'm reflecting. I leave here thinking, wow, this, that, and the other. It's just opened my mind to something. Are you triggered? One of the mayor's questions, a lot of the questions have triggered a lot of memories that are healthy for me to reflect back and be grateful for. I talk a lot.
No more cafe, Harold. Yeah, corta cafe. I'm messing with you. That's great.
I think we all would love to know what's behind the scenes of the public-friendly war you had with Mark Anthony.
No, very, very friendly, very friendly. That was a challenge that a lot of people think that I invented that challenge. I didn't. It was trending. We just got on it early. We FaceTime somebody, and the moment they pick up, hey, I say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you right now. You hang up on them, right? So I did that to Mark, and he was shirtless. And Mark, hey, what's up? I'm like, hey, I can't talk to you right now. Then why did you call me? He's like, okay. He called me back right away. He's like, are you okay? What happened? He thought like something horrible was going down. I said, hey, it's a prank. It's this, that, I'm doing. I'm calling a bunch of people. He's like, all right. Right. He hangs up on me. And then he starts texting me, after we posted it, and it's got 1 million views. And he's like, oh, very funny, right? Until one day I'm on the radio, and then my phone starts going berserk and getting text messages and ringing off the hook. And I'm like, why are so many people calling me? The telemarketer, I owe money, but not that much money, right? Or all these people calling my phone trying to extend my car's warranty. I'm like, So finally I pick one up, and she's like, is this Enrique Santos? Like, yes, I'm working. Who is this? Oh, I can't believe this. What do you mean? Your phone number's on the Palmetto on 103rd Street with Mark Anthony's face. It says, call Enrique Santos. Is this really your cell phone? I'm like, no. I can't believe. And then the next call, and people laughing, and I'm like, wow. So it was crazy.
Did you have to change your number?
So I had to get a new number, but we kept that number, and now we use it for the show, and people call and text in and they participate. And we have WhatsApp groups and things like that, and so it ended up being a positive, but it was a pain in the neck for several days because the phone would not stop.
Got it. You guys got anything else before we start wrapping up? So Enrique, one of the cool things that we do too is that you get to, this is something that they added in, the kids added in. You get to ask me.
Oh boy.
one or two questions. Anything you
Don't
got?
get nervous, Mayor.
No. Whatever you want to ask, and yeah, it's part of what they want to do in the show is that kind of just flip the script,
Yeah.
and give everybody who shows up that opportunity.
Absolutely. Mayor, I would say wow. See, this is what I'm good at. I'm not good. Sometimes I respond to questions and it's like I'm going to take forever to answer. I'm normally on the side asking questions. What's the most difficult for you right now, given the crazy political climate that exists in not just in Dade County and Florida and in the United States? And how do you manage all these different egos and, it must be very, very complicated.
It really is. So one of the things that I'm fortunate with is that in Florida, it's illegal for local elected officials to campaign or to say, hey, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat. So it's helped me, right? For example, we have an 85% approval rating in the town, which is awesome, right? People trust us, people believe us, but I avoid those hot button issues that I can't control.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I shy away from them. The reality is I can't control them. So I've told folks in my community, I go, look, if it's police, if it's fire, if it's parks, I'm your man. Anything else, maybe in the future I run for something like that, but I shy away from it because I don't control it, right? And so I've made a very conscious decision of focusing on the issues that I control on a daily basis. Because I've had people call me about, you name the issue, trying to get involved in national stuff, this and that. I'm like, guys, what am I going to do? Sign my name on a paper and then give it to some congressman and they're going to throw it away or do whatever they want? So if you're talking to me about the stuff that I control, I'm in all day. But I made that decision because there's a lot of people that I'm personally a Republican, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm registered Republican. But a lot of the people that my supporters are Republicans, independents, and Democrats, right? They're all my friends. But the day that I have an R or a D next to my name on issues, I alienate half of the people, right? And I think that's one thing that's helped me be successful here in the town. And why I was the first mayor to run unopposed was because I've told folks, look, we'll meet, we'll talk about issues, but if it's something that I don't control, I'll talk to our congressman. But let's focus on the stuff that I do because those are the things that I can impact on a daily basis.
And what would you tell young people that are coming of age now, of voting age, right? And because what you spoke about is something that I've never seen or lived. This is the first time ever in my life that people are ashamed to say they're from one party or another, or even being independent. Then some people jump on them and say, you have no backbone, or you need to define yourself. And the first time ever in my life where if people disagree with you, they try to discredit you, they attack you, they say that you're a communist, for example, is something that I think is horrible. But that causes a lot of division, a lot of confusion. What would you tell young people that are looking to, obviously you're Republicans, so you're going to want them to register Republican, but the important thing is that they register and that they participate. But what do you tell young people that want to participate in politics but are afraid of the bickering, don't want to be called names or create enemies?
So I've made it my mission this year to change that narrative, right? So I teach an actual class at a local high school every Friday on critical thinking.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
this involves a lot of critical thinking.
Exactly. So I told the kids, I go, look, I'll show them an issue. I'll show them newspapers, even stuff that includes me, even stuff that might bash me. But I have them research the background. I go, look, don't take things at face value, right? If somebody tells you, look, vote for me because I'm a Republican, vote for me because I'm a Democrat, don't take anything at face value. Do your own research. Think critically. And I think this generation, I have a lot of hope and optimism for, because I really see them having incredible conversations on issues and not being disrespectful. But it's happened. It happens here on the local level, right? It's gone from the national scene to the state scene to the county, and even locally where we see each other every day. So the big issue is, if I were president, the majority of the people that criticize, I'll never even see them ever again. If I were the governor, same thing. If I were the county mayor, most people don't get to interact with me. But as a local mayor, I coach basketball at Shula's. I coach flag football at the Optus. So I see everybody every single day, and I tell folks, and that think critically. Don't take things at face value from me but that is my thing to those kids, and that's why I took that challenge upon myself. And I said, you know what? I'm just not going to talk about it. let's be about it. So I joined a local high school, and I'm every single Friday. I already made a commitment next year that I'm going to be teaching 3 times a week because I loved it so much. And I saw the progression in the kids to speak out, share your ideas, but think critically, right? And I think that hopefully that next generation, which I'm really optimistic about, will start changing that narrative. We're not gangs, right? It's not like when we grew up when we were kids and gangs existed, right?
Yes.
Thank God gangs aren't as big of an issue anymore in Dade County, but we're not gangs, in terms of because I believe in this and you believe in that, we're mortal enemies.
Yeah.
And I think that has to stop because it's not healthy. But I think that the one thing that exacerbated that issue is social media. Because there's a lot of people that feel comfortable saying things on social media they wouldn't tell you in face to face, right? And I think that's part of the challenge is that we've created this culture where social media is being used. There's a lot of good. The majority is good, right? Communicating in real time from anywhere in the world. The bad part is people feel comfortable in saying things that they normally wouldn't say, and it's created this process where good people don't want to run for public office. It happened here in the town of Miami Lakes. It is becoming incredibly difficult for me to recruit good, hardworking, talented individuals to run for public service. They don't want to. They tell me, Manny, I don't want this. This is too toxic. So I think we're going to see the quality of, unfortunately, of elected officials continue to go down. It's supposed to be.
That's scary.
It really is. And public service is supposed to be the most brightest and talented and hardest working folks in our society, and it's not.
It's about politics is supposed to solve people's problems and bring people together.
And I think it's become the other way around.
Totally opposite. Right? What are you most proudest of everything of your political career?
To be very honest with you, it's changing the culture, right? The mayor before me, there was corruption here. They got arrested, whatnot, FBI, and the foundation of trust didn't exist in our community, right? You really can't do anything if the people around you don't trust you. So I worked very hard at the beginning to do little things. For example, you see the glass door here. Mm-hmm. It used to be a solid wooden door. Those are little things that I did. I did it because they can see, anybody that walks by, a resident can see who I'm meeting with. I have office hours on Saturdays, right? So I knew that our residents work from 9 to 5. So if they wanted to see me, they would have to leave work to come talk to me. I go, no. Let's change that and let's be here on Saturday. So the first and third Saturday of the month, I'm here at City Hall. People come get to see me.
Does your wife like that?
She's very supportive. She's very supportive because I balance everything up. But no, but that's a good one. But I run it. Believe it or not, she is my confidant. I love her, my soulmate. So I run everything by her before I make those decisions. And the other thing we do that helped us create that foundation of trust that's allowing the town to be successful. I said, hey, if you can't make it to City Hall, I'll go to you. I have a mobile office. We have a truck here at Town Hall. It has signs on the sides. It has my cell phone number.
You're just a workaholic. You want to work all the time.
I love it, but it's made
you
it...
got a working tour bus.
Exactly.
You work on Saturdays.
Yeah, exactly.
You're teaching also at the school.
Exactly.
You want to teach 2 more days because 1 day is not sufficient.
Exactly. But I almost feel like God has given us certain gifts that we have to share with others. I don't want to be that guy when St. Peter calls our name and he's like, Manny... And all of this, you could have done a lot much more to help people. So I'm like, you know what? As much as I could do, that my wife approves, I'm gonna do. And I think those were the little things, but it's made my job easier. Once I created that foundation of trust, which was really the first 2 or 3 years in office, we still do it today. We've seen complaints, a lot less issues. I mean, you saw the little tour you did at Town Hall. You heard our finance department, the stuff they're doing. Mm-hmm. We literally have our bank account. It's unheard of. Online, where you can see, Town of Miami Lakes has $5 million in the bank account. Why did $100,000 go out? You click on it. There's an invoice. There's this. There's that. There's a contract, and it's helped us to be that much successful.
Transparency in government, the way it's supposed to be. They're taxpayer dollars.
100%.
People should know where their money is going to.
100%. But not everybody agrees with, transparency invites a lot of questions, and not everybody agrees with that. Listen, when I first put the cameras in Town Hall for people to see our meetings. And we were the first city in the nation, I mean, there's articles about it, that we allowed our residents to participate in our meetings from anywhere in the world. After COVID, everybody followed our lead. We actually helped many cities throughout the nation. But before COVID, we were the first city to do it. And there were people that didn't want to do it. There were people that voted no on these initiatives because they were afraid of what it would entail, right? The more scrutiny that you have, to me, it was the other way around. I want more people seeing what we're doing because it creates more trust.
Sure.
But not everybody agrees to that. And it goes back to that conversation of having more quality individuals in public service, which I think that's really a key cog in the future success of our society. Anything else for me, or you're...
No, I'm solid. I'm good.
All right. I appreciate you, Enrique. So final words to future generations. Just say, think back to when you were a kid in their shoes. What would you have loved to hear from somebody in your position, talking to them and giving them advice?
There's no real expert, right? What am I looking at? This one? There's no when I was a kid, there was no real expert I didn't know anybody else that was a cop and that also did radio, right? So I had no one to go to. How do you, like you asked a little while ago, how do you balance all this, right? Again, just follow your instinct. Follow your instincts. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Set your GPS. You'll get there. Might not be at the time that the GPS tells you you're going to get there. It might not be that same route. It's going to change. Life is changing. Be a chameleon. You know, chameleons. You see a chameleon going up a tree and it changes colors. You can't see it. Like, know when to blend in. Know when to stick out. And follow your instinct. My instincts have never steered me wrong. You meet somebody, you get a good feeling. La persona te cae bien. That person is like, I vibe with this person. Something tells me this is a good person. You get those same vibes when you get those negative vibes, and something tells me this is not a good situation. Something tells me this person is not somebody I could trust. Follow that inner voice. Follow that instinct. Follow your heart, and you'll set that GPS and do what moves you. Do you. Do less explaining. I say it now that I'm thinking about it, which is a great question. I gotta learn to stop having to justify yourself. I've found myself a lot of time in my life having to explain everything to everyone, like family members or people that I know. Okay, I'm doing this just so you know, and I'm not gonna answer my phone, and talking about the phone. Know when social media is too much. Know when people are being toxic, and don't let toxic people mess up your day or your plans or change how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, or your future. There's just so much evil behind a lot of those profiles that anybody in the world with who knows what intentions can go on there and put any name they want. You see them, they're like bots, right? They have no followers, and people that open up, Instagram accounts just to go on and to F up your day. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let those people get to you. Don't let those people get underneath be above those people, above the line. Set your line. There's a line in life. Those are your goals. Those are your standards. And know, I don't want to dip below my standards, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter what your goals are. That's my line. From here, para arriba. From here, up. Nothing from here below.
Well, thank you, Enrique. Thank you for coming on.
This is just a practice, right? Now we're actually...
Oh, now...
Now we're going to record.
Well, you know what? We're any
the cameras are on, right?
They are.
These things are working, right?
No. We really appreciate you coming on. I usually close it out, but anything? Can you close it out? Because you're the expert on closing
sure.
out. Lou? What do you think we should close it out with? What's the outro? Yeah, you got it. Whatever you think.
Whatever I think.
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
You do it in Spanish. That's really good.
Just yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yo soy Enrique Santos. Él es Manny Cid, el alcalde of the town of Miami Lakes, and he has too much time on his hand. He wants to work Saturdays. He wants to teach not 1 day, 2 days. He wants to teach 3 days at school. He wants to do a podcast to motivate kids. He wants to change the world. Like, he's definitely changed the town of Miami Lakes and made it a better, more transparent, and efficient government. And that's the way it should be. He's a good Republican. He's a good man. He's a good public servant. And he has no hair.
I appreciate that. So there you have it. Tune in next Wednesday on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
You didn't take offense when I say you have no hair, right?
No. It's the truth. It's a fact. It's a fact.